now we have our special guest today, Clay Hawkins.
Hey everybody.
All right, welcome Clay.
Why, hello. Thanks for having me here. Good to be back, where it all started,
Yes.
essentially.
Yeah, Clay is no stranger to the radio waves as well, having had a KZYX show for many years.
Yeah, but I started here,
Mhm.
actually. My very first radio training and experience all happened right here, so that was it actually worked out kind of perfect because I didn't have any experience at all, and then I was able to do a radio show here for 2 months or so, and about then, the people at KZYX said, hey, we actually have a spot, and so I just happened to be fresh off of a bunch of training, so
Nice.
it worked out.
That's awesome.
Otherwise I would have been like, I don't have any training, I don't know how to do a radio show.
Yeah.
So
How do you really prepare, or plan it,
Yeah.
sometimes that's kind of how I ended up here too, was just kind of, by just the spontaneous opportunities.
Yeah. Well, we're lucky here
Yeah.
because we have like radio that actually really matters and is kind of a vibrant part of the community versus maybe, I don't know, maybe some larger cities or whatnot. We sort of managed to maintain, I feel like we managed to maintain a pretty high level of integrity with our radio.
Definitely, yeah, it's
Yeah.
very community involved.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're
So-
talking about you,
Yeah.
KZYX and KMEC.
Oh, good. So thanks for coming in today,
Mhm.
and I'd love to just kind of explore about your music and how did you get into your love with the lap steel and just I guess playing music in general.
Okay.
How did it find you?
Yeah. It all started when I was a wee lad. No, I'm just kidding. I basically just started playing the guitar when I was about 14, and I was going to be in a band, and my friend played the guitar and said, you ought to learn how to play the guitar. So I went and he wanted me to play bass, and I went down to the music store and I bought a regular guitar, and he was so disappointed that I didn't come back with a bass. But I didn't want to play bass, I wanted to play the guitar. So flash forward, that was mostly electric guitar, a lot of punk rock, a lot of loud stuff like that when I was learning. And then I started getting into fingerstyle guitar about 7 or 8 years later, and I couldn't find anybody that could teach me what I was hearing, so I would listen to like John Fahey or Lil Cocky or some of these guys, they were kind of trailblazers in their own right, so there wasn't this big broad roadmap of like how to become a fingerstyle guitar player, and the internet hadn't happened, so there wasn't YouTube videos that I could go look at on how is Lil Cocky playing this song. So what I ended up finding was banjo, the rolls with your 3 fingers, right?
Yeah.
So that was something that I could find right away. I could find like sheet music, written music and stuff like that, and various things about the particular banjo rolls and the combinations. So that was at least a place to start, right? So I could get something going. I was like, oh, okay. And so I got a banjo, started learning how to do the rolls and stuff like that, all the while with the intent that I would, kind of transfer it over to the guitar at some point. So, and which I did. The banjo, you use 3 fingers, and then I use 4 with the guitar. So I sort of homogenized, kind of cannibalize these different styles and sort of put them into what I was doing, and then I started playing slide, regular slide, like the one I've got on my hand right now. And then I saw a guy named Kelly Joe Phelps, who I used to know a little bit in Portland, and he was always playing down at this local burrito place, and he took a regular guitar and he laid it on his lap. and he was playing it with a slide, like a lap steel.
Okay.
And so that was the first time that it really kind of the light bulb went off, because I was actually getting a little bored with what I was doing on the guitar, and that kind of kicked off this whole new direction essentially. So I went. You can get these little kind of cheater nuts that go on the top of the guitar and raise the strings up, because to play anything on the lap, like, you know, you got to have the strings up kind of high, because you got to be able to press down with the bar. And so you could get these little extensions that you could put on here, and they'd lift up the strings of a regular guitar, and then you can put it on your back. So that's what I did. I took one of my guitars, strung it up like that, and that kind of started it all. And then I started getting into more like the resonator guitars that I have, and eventually bought some lap steels. I have yet to make the leap to pedal steel, which is a completely different beast, but I might just stop with with the lap stuff that I do play. So there's a quick synopsis of sort of where I got, you know, how I got to what I do now. And then the great thing about the guitar, to me, is one of the truest things that I've heard said about it is it's easy to learn and impossible to master. So you can get a lot of joy out of it just by learning, you know, a few basic chords. Unlike, say, like the violin, which is going to take you a long time just to make it sound good at all, right? One note. But you could never really master this thing. So like every time I get, you know, everything that I do has always just been basically just in pursuit of my own songwriting vision. So like I love flamenco guitar, but I don't play flamenco. I appreciate it, and then I try to take from that mostly off the right hand, the techniques and stuff like that they use. And so I'm always just kind of borrowing from whatever I see, that like some technique, some physical technique that I'm like, oh, that's cool. Like, how are they doing that? You know, like slapping, when you know, you'd hear like slap bass everywhere, like. You know, that's like if I had a bass in my hands, it'd sound real funky, right? And but that was the same thing. It was like I was like listening to that, and I thought, oh, I could slap the bass strings too with my thumb. You know, like that's a cool sound. So yeah, just various. That's kind of the secret to whatever style I have, is that it's just like most people, it's just this amalgam of a bunch of different styles that sort of fit what I was trying to get done at any given moment. So
one thing that stands out about your music is that it has such kind of like a rustic vibe.
Good.
Kind of got like a nice edgy kind of deep, you know, resonant, you know, type of sound. And one thing that's unique about it is your voice as well. You know, how did you start incorporating singing?
Well, that was a lot of people say, you know, you probably heard the term singer-songwriter, guitar player, right? People say, oh, I'm a singer-songwriter. I'm a guitarist, songwriter, singer. So the singing came the last, and it was the hardest. It's always been the hardest. It's the thing that's come the least naturally. So and you know, I was just at some friends, well, you know, Jason and Manal. Hey guys, I was just over there at their place on Sunday, and I got lucky enough to sing a couple songs. And it's really hard for me to take compliments sometimes on my singing, because it's the one part that I'm the most critical about. And but basically, I got into it just because you know, I always wanted to write songs. So I wanted something. As a guitar player, I couldn't just absorb myself into just learning other people's songs or learning other people's styles. Like, oh, okay, I'm gonna be like Clarence White and just be like this finger, flat picker and just like kill it, or these different. I went through phases with guitar players where you sort of study under the altar of, the different people, like whether, like I said, like Leo Kottke and these finger stylists, or whether it was like Jimi Hendrix and what he was doing, or Jerry Garcia, all these different people. But in the end, I was trying to get to a place where I wanted really good songs to be able to jam the guitar to.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the kind of music that inspired me. So then writing songs, I was like, well, okay, I guess I'm gonna have to sing. And so I first started in a bunch of punk bands, and that didn't really matter. So it didn't matter how bad I sounded. And then I took lessons. I was living in San Francisco for a while. One of the best things that ever happened to me was, it's so painful to have this woman came up and said, I've never heard anybody play the guitar so great and sing so poorly. Right?
Wow.
I'm like, ouch! But it was the greatest thing, right? Because you need somebody to tell you that, and then she was even better because she said, my ex is a singing coach, and I ended up, and now I'm still friends with that guy to this day. He's a good friend of mine. And this was like over 25 years ago that we started. He started teaching me how to sing. So yeah, I spent a lot of time working on that, and so I appreciate you saying that. You can't really hear your own voice while you're performing, right? While I'm singing, I can hear what I'm getting back from the guitar.
Yeah.
But I can't really hear what I'm getting back from my voice too much because we all sound different to ourselves,
That's right. That's
So
true.
I always think that I'm sounding one way vocally, but then it's like I listen back and I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot of I spent some time down in New Orleans, and the music that I was raised on was more traditional country, really straight, old school country, Waylon Willie and the Boys, that kind of thing. And I think that's kind of informs why it has sort of an Americana. You wouldn't call my music country, but it has some elements of like rural folk music or something,
Rural.
right?
Yeah.
Rural, yeah. So that's from there, and then I just think the aesthetic of like a lot of the stuff that comes out of the South, a lot of that music, just a lot of the melodies and the instruments. I love acoustic. I love electric instruments, but I love acoustic instruments the most.
Yeah.
And I think you can't get grittier and kind of dirtier than like, just a really good gut bucket guitar or something, something like when my upright bassist, shout out to Andrew Robertson, when he goes wailing on that thing, it's as heavy as anything. So, yeah, so that's where my aesthetic lies as far as the instruments that I'm gravitated towards, And these instruments almost have a little bit of like this natural growl, right?
Yeah, woodsy.
So it has its own thing that way. Let's see. Should I play a tune?
Yeah.
What do you think? I guess so.
Wait.
Imagine some people would probably be like, let's hear one. 'Cause I found a way, yeah, man, yeah, I found a way, yeah, we can go right now, see we're getting out. I found a way, feels so right, set all that I need is one way up. Right now feels like it's only oh, say later, oh, really, I'll be gone, and I know be strong, yeah, no reason to say what you feel is right or wrong. It all belongs just like the air I'm breathing. 'Cause I found a way, I found a way, yeah, I found a way, yeah, we can go right now, say we're getting out. I found a way, it feels so right. All I need is one way up. Right now feels like it's only say one way up. Right now feels like it's only way up, way up. Right now feels like it's only
Ooh.
There we go.
Awesome.
There we go. Thanks.
One thing I found about the playing guitar is just it's so much fun to just go all over the place, you know, just incorporate rhythms, and then you got your, you know, like pull-offs and pull-ons, and just add all those, mix them all together.
Yeah, and then throw some slide into it, and yeah, that what I try to, say if I had to break down kind of the essence of my style is I tend to kind of really lean on these lower bass notes as drones,
Oh yeah.
and then because the notes that you can play against those drones, depending on how those two notes sync up and resonate together, you can get a lot of really great kind of emotions out of it. And
Mood.
so it just like if I just hit that low E,
You're setting up a background.
yeah,
Yeah.
and it's like those two tones sound really nice together, versus if I'm just going, which sounds fine. It's actually causing this low string to ring out.
And are you tuned in the open G?
Right now I'm just in standard, so I'm just playing in E major, doing that. But I should, this one is tuned to G.
Yeah.
Can swap.
There's so many cool, really fun tunings. I found that the C6 is my favorite.
Yes.
It has this really like
Super islandy kind
Yeah.
of, yeah. So I agree. I
Yeah.
just,
go.
I just bought, well, I didn't just, but the last lap steel that I got was tuned to C6 when I bought it. And the minute I sat down, I was like, "Oh, dude, this is great!" You know, I was asking everybody, "What is this tuned to?" He's like, "C6." And then I started doing some investigating. I was like, "Oh, okay, this is pretty common tuning." You know, but I think it's sort of, it's kind of Hawaiian to me, to my ears. I have like because you can really hear like there's a lot of lap steel in Hawaiian music, right?
It has that island. Totally has that island. Space island. You can just kind of go out into this world.
Yeah, this thing is much more. By the way, if I am streaming this to a YouTube channel right now, and if you go to YouTube, Clay Hawkins, we can.
YouTube Clay Hawkins.
Yeah, if anybody out there is listening, you can go to YouTube, Clay Hawkins, and we're streaming this live. So, so I have another guitar on my lap now. So.
Yeah, and this guitar is like a steel guitar.
Yeah, this one is. They're called resonator guitars, and basically all this is just a really primitive speaker cone. And if you took this plate off, there's literally a speaker. It looks like a speaker cone.
Wow.
It's a cone, and then this wooden bridge right here sits on the top of it, and then the strings resonate down through the wood down into that speaker cone, and then it comes blasting out that way. So it's like really primitive speaker technology, essentially, right? This is how those guys were able to make as much noise as possible in those juke joints back in the day. They didn't have any amplification, so they'd have to just sit down with these things and just bash on them as hard as possible and make them loud, you know, yeah.
I did meditation, you know.
Oh, that's good. Yeah. That's kind of the point of I guess this YouTube channel. To be honest, every morning, if anybody out there is interested, I do this live stream every morning, and I call it Morning Postcards, and I do it on this YouTube channel. So I think I did number 351 this morning.
Wow.
Yeah. So I've missed 4. So I'm coming up on a year.
Yeah.
I've missed 4 of them. So
that's pretty good. That's commitment.
You know, I tried.
Yeah.
You know, but a friend of mine was like kind of joking me. He's like, "You don't go on vacation much or anything, do you?" It's like you're always there doing the morning postcard. But
What time do you usually start those?
it's this morning it was probably around 7:30, but it seems to vary. It's the first thing I do when I wake up in the morning. I get up and I go ahead and turn the computer on really quick. All the mics are set up, and then I just grab a guitar, and I don't think about it, and I just play whatever comes to mind,
Yeah,
right?
very cool.
And that's my point. It's like it's morning meditation for me as well, and there's something about forethought, like not thought out, just purely improvised music. Like I notice the reason I started it is so often I sit down, I pick up the guitar, and the first thing that comes out would be like the best idea.
Yeah.
Just something I wouldn't even, before I even had it in my mind, had a chance, I'd be like, oh, wow, that was cool. What was that? Why didn't I just play right there?
Yeah.
And so I always notice that, like, before my mind gets involved, that's when I really notice that the creativity can like get out there, right?
As it is, untouched.
And so, like this morning, I when I was doing the morning postcard, I picked up the guitar, and I have to test the sound just for a split second, right, just to make sure it's coming through. But I had the same thing. I played a few notes, and I was like, "Ooh, that sounds good."
Yeah.
And then I thought, "Oh, I'm not live yet. Like, don't do this."
No.
Like because that was the thing. It's like once I start, it's like it's like, well, now am I going to play those notes that I just rethought out? And like, because then it sets this expectation, it sets this whole narrative, and the idea is like, I don't want to be thinking about it. I want it to be like pure mind as I go into it and play it.
Yeah.
And the more that I can do that, the better they sound.
Yeah.
The less that I do that, the more self-conscious I sound, and then
it hinders it.
It's been a great exercise for me because I see over time like oh, last week's have been really good, and then I see the last 4 or 5 I'm kind of off or something, but I can watch myself over this long course of time and try to grow through it to some degree.
Documenting the transitions, where different parts of your life, where you're moving through, and
that too. That too, actually, because last year was kind of a crazy year, and this is part of the reason I started it. It was like, it's nice to have that continuity, something very consistent, I guess like a meditation or something,
Totally.
Basically. One of the things that I really appreciate you asking me on here for is that I wanted to just take 2 seconds and just throw out what I've been working on for the last
all the
year
projects.
and a half.
You got some pretty interesting.
Well, I sure hope so. For all the musicians out there, I basically have been starting this music app called the Open Music Exchange, or ome, and our website is ome.audio, ome.audio, and essentially I'm just trying to create the ability to have a streaming marketplace where you can throw up a small paywall before somebody streams your stuff permanently forever, like they do on Spotify, when you don't get paid. This allows artists to basically, we're using NFTs as digital keys to unlock content. So you can create these kind of like, if you think of like a box set back in the day when a band would make like a box set of a bunch of albums and have a book in it and pictures and extra things, you could do all that kind of stuff. And then you can package it all up, and you can mint these digital keys totally free on our app, and then you can sell them for like 10-15 cents, which is like 30-40 times what you'd ever get on Spotify, right? Or just let the market decide, essentially. So rather than let Spotify tell us it's what we're supposed to get. So anyways, I'm building it as a musician. I've been in the tech world for a really long time, but this is really coming from a place of from my heart as a musician, because I have recorded so much music, and it's frustrating now, and I see it with a lot of my peers. Unless you're playing live, you're not really going to make a lot of money anymore as a musician, unless you're really just streams, your stream counts are just enormous. So I just came to this conclusion that I just needed a better platform.
Make it yourself.
Yeah, I just felt like, it's not out there, that I guess I'm gonna have to build it,
Yeah.
because I just don't see anything out there that made any sense. So like to put all my music on this, do all that. I kind of did that with Spotify. I have a bunch of music on Spotify, and it's just kind of like, yeah, well, I could drive all this traffic to it, but like if I, you get 1 million streams, it's like $3,000.
Yeah.
It's just my favorite band. Their biggest song has 2 million streams.
Yeah.
And they're an international touring band, right?
Yeah.
So they've made $6,000 off their best song, and
Wow.
that's terrible, right?
Yeah.
And they're a band; they have to split it,
Exactly.
and all this stuff. So
Exactly.
$6,000,
It's like, when did I gig?
Yeah, so yeah, so that is the situation facing musicians today, and we're finally in this position. I feel like where the technology is gonna help us as a lot of times music, like any art form, whether it was when we had the gramophone, and then that changed the world because all of a sudden people could hear recorded music for the first time,
That's
right?
right.
Up
Save
until
it.
that point, you had to just hear it live.
Yeah.
And then as the technology changed, and we got into digital tape and records and tapes, and then CDs and then MP3s. It's all been co-opted and owned by the record companies or some sort of a multinational, right? As all this technology changes and goes through, even all the way through to MP3s, the musicians have still not been able to really capture any real value out of that technology, right? The record labels took most of the money from record
The
sales.
system is kind of created to have, there's
So we finally have this option, and I know a lot of people when they hear the word NFTs.
yeah, tell us more about the NFTs.
Well, we're not doing the NFTs like everybody else is doing. And most people, when they think of NFTs, they're thinking of collectibles and that whole thing, the kind of rare deals. We're not really too impressed with much of that because I feel like that's mostly a fad, and it's not really. As a musician, I don't want to have to make collectibles. I don't want to have to. I want to make music.
Yeah.
That's what my product is, right? And a lot of the current NFT things it's all about making these collectibles. Music stays free, and then you collect these things based around the artist that the artist makes. I just don't see that as a sustainable thing. A lot of the musicians I talk to, including myself, they're like, "What? I don't even know what that means. Like NFT, blah blah blah." Yeah. So we just took all that away, and we do everything in the background. You don't need to know about anything related to any of that stuff to use our app. It's literally a buy button, or you upload all your music. We made it very simple. We made it so that anybody can use it. But the idea is basically the technology that we're building on now with the NFTs, the way we're using them as these digital keys. You can't copy these. You can't bootleg a bunch of NFTs.
It really protects it.
It really protects it.
Yeah.
If you mint 1 million of these things and you sell them for 20 cents, or you say you wanted to just do 1,000, and you sell them, and maybe you put a bunch of rare tracks in there and some pictures of music or of your lyrics and maybe a live stream and some concert tickets, and you can put anything in them. That's what's so great about these little packages. Doesn't just have to be the song. And you could sell it for whatever you think you could sell it for. When somebody buys that, it goes immediately to their catalog, to their collection on our app, and then you have access to that forever, as long as just like when you had a record back in the day, when you owned a CD, it didn't give you the rights to sell the music, it didn't give you the rights to do anything, but it gave you access, it gave you the right to listen to that music. As long as you own the CD, you can listen to that band's music.
That's right.
Well, that's how it works. As long as you own that digital pass, that little key, and so there you'll be able to listen to that content. And so that's the beautiful thing about these NFTs, is that you can create something, because on the internet, trying to create something that is not copyable is very hard, right? I mean, you can pretty much copy everything, so these are the copy paste, so these have that unique value in that regard, that you can say, nope, this is the only one of those that exists, or there's only one of so many, and it's verifiable, and we can see that. So So anyways, that's kind of a long-winded explanation of some of
Yeah.
the technology behind it, but that's essentially what we've got going. And like I said, I'm building all this from a musician standpoint, and it's been a lot of work, but we finally we got everything. It's all working. It's kind of like I use the analogy. We finally got the boat put together, and it's in the water and it's floating.
Yeah.
So now we get to go run the race with it, but at least it's floating. You know, it's like you can sign up. We have like 30, 40 artists on there, and like a couple hundred users, and
cool.
Yeah, there's been like 1,000 sales, and
very
you know,
nice.
and so it's like it's actually working. You
How long
know,
has it been live? How long has it been?
just a few months actually.
Okay.
We've just been word of mouthing it, basically since the beginning of the year, kind of telling people just around here locally, a lot of just local musicians and whatnot, friends of mine and stuff. So it hadn't been really ready for prime time yet, so we kind of beta testing a lot of this. So we're just coming out of that that phase now, and we're sort of coming into that phase of like, okay, we're open for business, so to speak. Yeah.
Ready
So
for it to get large.
hopefully, you know, we give the musicians 92 to 96% of all the income goes to the musicians. So always, no matter what,
Pretty
right?
revolutionary, you know. I think people do forget about that, you know, just the product of sound, you know, it's an art form, you know, it's.
If music disappeared tomorrow, everybody would then suddenly, you know, appreciate it to the point that they, you know, it's you know, I'm a music listener. I listen to Spotify because they made it so easy, and from a consumer standpoint, Spotify is a great deal. You can just pay your $10 and you get everything. Yeah. But it's at the expense of the artist.
That really is.
And you should know that, everybody out there that's using Spotify. That's the truth. It's a great product for us all as consumers, but it has changed the game fundamentally from a recorded music standpoint. That kind of one buffet style everything for one price, you know, it just doesn't create a sustainable business model for us as musicians. So
the time, the training, the equipment.
Oh yeah.
The equipment alone, you know.
You know, I mean, you think about how many. You know, you know, and then we've got AI, right? That's coming in. That's, you know, kind of throwing everybody has a lot of questions around AI and whatnot. I'm kind of thinking that we might get to some point where people really just want to hear some good old-fashioned not American, but human-made music.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, it's kind of fun to play with, you know, but it's like, but wait.
You know, yeah, kind of. I don't know. I kind of could imagine.
AI art.
Well, I think that all that stuff as it grows, I mean, I don't know, who knows what the future holds, but I'm under the impression that maybe human-made art might become more precious to us because there's going to be so much AI rendered art out there.
That's right.
That when you actually when you see something that, you know, it's like, okay, this was somebody took this photo or somebody drew this or something, you know, it's kind of, you know, I don't know, you know, we'll see what happens with all of that kind of stuff, right? Anyways,
thanks for running and going into that too. Sometimes it kind of boggles the brain of, you know, the concept of NFT and digital, just
well, the crypto thing really, unfortunately, kind of obscured the real, you know, technology should just be running in the background, right? It's not about, you know, that a lot of the hype and all of this stuff around crypto and blockchains and all that kind of stuff really obscured the value of the technology. And everybody just get rich quick, and, you know, or scam, or you know, a Ponzi scheme, all these things, because there's a lot of that in that space, and all that serves to do is just noise over the top of really great technology. And so we kind of took this point of like, well, you know, when I'm on a Zoom call, you know, Zoom doesn't advertise, you know, about their incredibly encrypted data packets that they use to transfer video files, that they just, the technology just happens, and we all just get on with it, right? We don't go, oh boy, this isn't this great.
Think about the better.
Yeah, you know that, and so the idea is that, you know, it should just work and give you that thing. So we don't really stand out there and go, hey, look, we're built on blockchain and we're built at this and we're built on that. It's like, no, we're just trying to be a music marketplace. You know, the technology that we're using is irrelevant, other than that it, to the point that it can serve what we're trying to do, you know, and like really create some real value for musicians. So yeah, that's, you know, I try to, these days, you know, it's not really that, you know, most people think of NFTs or crypto, they think of, you know, they've lost money or something, and so we're just really like, all right, we'll leave all that into that space, and we'll just focus on music.
It's like, we'll just do that for you, and you just come and enjoy it, and
it's just a music player, and it's a music marketplace. You know, we're kind of, I kind of use the analogy that, like, we kind of, if you imagine a big festival or a big mall or something, we built the grounds, and we built all the little stalls, and we put in the cash registers, and we put in all of the shelves. And now we're just waiting till the artists come on in and set up all your shelves and set up your wares, you know, you know, so, you know, and hopefully we built something that, is meaningful. I mean, I put my music hat on when I get on there, and I'm like, you know, is this going to serve me as a musician? I mean, it has to work for me, right? That was the whole point of buying it, you know, building it, right? And, so if, as a musician, if I'm like, I'm not feeling it, you know, then I know that we have to change, or we have to do something different. So it's,
you know, firsthand.
Yeah, I feel like we've done a pretty good job of staying true to that in that regard, because, you know, that was the whole point.
And so if a beginning musician, somebody, you know, like say I wanted to start taking my music more seriously, and because I'm jamming and, you know, create kind of a beginning. You know, anybody can join. It's free. Begin their career that way.
Totally.
Wow.
Yeah. It doesn't cost anything. What we're doing is, if you want to just sign up, put all your music on there, sell as much as you want, doesn't matter. Then we'll take 8%. You don't pay us anything ever. Other than you'll just take our alpha sales, right? And you take 92%, and that's it. And you can go forever that way. If you want to pay us $10 a month as an artist, then we'll take 96%. I mean, I'm sorry, we'll take only 4%. And then labels, if a label has a bunch of artists on it, then we can go even lower than that. So, but essentially that's it. There's no more cost other than that. And then as a listener, you don't pay anything other than what you buy. So, and you can go on. We have Stripe now installed, and we have Coinbase and whatnot. You can basically go on and just use a debit card, top it up with $5, $8, doesn't matter. Doesn't look like $3 you put on there, and then you can go shopping. And we give away tokens to everybody. We've made our own token that works in the app, and everybody can price their music in either dollars or our token. And it's pretty cool. Like, all the artists have chosen to price all their stuff, because you don't have to price it in our token. You can just price it in dollars. You just want dollars, you know, or cents or whatever. But everybody's pretty much priced it in both, so that's kind of fun. So then you can go on, and when you go, and we automatically just airdrop you some tokens. We just give you some right when you sign up. So then you can just go on and just go shop right away. So it doesn't cost you anything to get on there and start buying music, you know. And we have a really simple sign up. We just verify an email. We don't spam or do anything like that. So no, it's built for people like you. It's built for everybody, you know. And I really think that my goal is, you know, for all of us musicians who aren't, you know, super famous and have millions and millions of streams and whatnot, that, you know, this is for everybody. It's not, you know, that, you know, because we need real economics that make sense. You know, a third of a penny per stream is not. It's not real economics. I mean, that's just like basically like we're giving you nothing. You know. And you have like quite a few instruments you play, right?
Yeah, I've got the I've got the banjo, I've got electroacoustic guitar, I've got a acoustic recording king, which I didn't bring today. I should have.
That's okay.
And then I just got my this vintage lap steel that I found in Minnesota. Got it from Ukiah, and I got my recording king in Rhode Island.
Wow.
I didn't have a guitar with me when I had gone across the country, and I needed to have a guitar with me because I got into the habit of bringing the Luna nylon string, and I would jam in the sleeping in my truck, at the rest stops, or I jam hotel room, and it's just But I've got also an accordion.
Wow.
So sometimes I'll just get all the instruments out. I have just got a Luna ukulele, got a violin that has been terribly abused. The poor bows, it's just kind of falling apart.
Right.
And I got a mandolin. I got my banjo, of course. Got the harmonica. Got a few of them floating around. Got an electric bass I gotta get rid of because I just.
You have a lot of instruments, Rachel. That's crazy. I love it.
Just get them all out sometimes, and I'm like, wow, I just cleaned the living room.
Yeah, right. I know. Mine are all just sitting and leaning against the walls in my studio. I stopped collecting other instruments only just because I found that when I went down that road, because there are so many great instruments that I'd love to play.
Yeah.
I just don't have the time.
Right.
And even like drums and stuff. Like if I hadn't picked up the guitar, I'd probably be a drummer. I love the drums, but and I got a kit and I sat there for a while and started playing and I was like, dude, you're never gonna be that great of a drummer. Just stick with the guitar.
Well, we have about 10 minutes left.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you want to
Play some more music?
Yeah.
Alright, let's do it. Let's see, how about... try to make some time, make the desert my morning, watch the weather change without warning, and in the distance towns go sailing by. Found on my way round. I just take it slow. Yeah, there's too many miles to go. Let the lines on the road lead the way tonight. Hearts when the cards won't deal right, steal away, don't even say goodbye. Brings to mind some old standard about a train and a lonesome gambler. They're all the same, you can ride them anyway. Oh, So, end of the radio show music here.
Thank you so much for coming in
Yeah,
and
it's
you know
my pleasure.
sharing and just hanging out with us.
I
We
know.
got her here, getting back into the radio.
Yeah.
But
Thank you for doing this.
but supporting local artists and
Yeah,
musicians,
yeah,
and
yeah.
just having a conversation you guys can listen to.
Good stuff. Good
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
And so you have a performance coming up.
I do actually a few things. I real quick. I told Christian over there at Namaste, which is an amazing juice place here in Ukiah. By the way, they're going to be playing. I'm going to do a plug for them really quick, but they're going to be playing Friday and Saturday. They're playing Friday at the Thirsty Axe, and they're playing Saturday over at the Plant Shop. So that's just a quick plug from my buddy Christian over there. Some more local music here. And then I am doing the Earth Day over at the Co-op. They're having a celebration over there. I'm going to be playing there on Saturday afternoon. And then, there's a few things. There's the variety show that's going to be on May 13th over in Boonville.
Oh yeah, the
It's going on.
Yeah, the Grange, right?
Yeah, so we're playing on Friday on that, and then I've been kind of putting some other things in the works, so there will be more shows.
Awesome. So people can follow you on Facebook and
Yep.
Instagram, Clay Hawkins Official.
Yep.
And
I'm
also-
pretty easy to find overall. So clayhawkins.com. So yeah, and ome.audio, ome.audio if you're interested in that. So
Awesome. And then so the Earth Day at the Co-op, is that kind of like an all-day type of?
yeah, I think it starts at like 11 or noon. I should know better, but I'm gonna go on. Oh gosh, it's so bad. I should know. It's on Facebook. I did actually post it, and so did the Co-op. But I will repost it on Facebook. I want to say that I'm going on like around 1 o'clock or something like that. But not so bad. So many dates,
good,
so
yeah.
much time. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, it is a Saturday, and if you look up the Ukiah Natural Foods Co-op, they have it all over their website and all over their social media and stuff like that too. So
Awesome.
yeah, so
Cool. Well, there's lots of opportunities, you guys.
Yeah.
Go check them out, and it's really a delight to see you to perform live. So.
awesome. Well, yeah, thank you, Rachel.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Well, if you wanted to jam just a little bit more,
Sure.
you're totally welcome
We've
to.
got a
We
few minutes.
got a few
Okay.
minutes here, yeah.
Why not? I could write a million love songs, baby. Stay up all night, try and condense all of my romance, but I'm never gonna get it right. If I know that you hear that, baby, lead me to your door. I'd write a million more. So many questions now that I'll have to wait
do I have to say? Make you mine. What lengths do I have to go for your heart? But I gotta know. I've been climbing the hall, waiting your call, but it's gonna come any day. Another chance, another dance, but I guess I shouldn't think that way. I seem a little uncertain when my arms are open wide, and it feels a little more real tonight. What do I have to do? Call you my lady. What do I have to say? Thank you.
I know. I was thinking. Oh, I know we're gonna be running out of time.
Yeah.
That's why I looked up. I
Yeah.
was like, I'm sure we're running
That
out.
was perfect.
Oh, good.
Yeah, 14 seconds.
Nice.
Show.
Thanks everybody for joining us. Bye bye. See if I can.